Well, no one can turn back the clock, but I suspect Dominic Perrottet wishes he could, the New South Wales Premier. The firestorm he triggered after admitting he wore a Nazi uniform to his 21st birthday, I don't think it's over by any means. Now, Robert Borsak, the leader of the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers Party, wants the New South Wales Premier to front an integrity inquiry and has referred Perrottet himself to the police over a possible failure to disclose the fancy dress faux pas on legally binding political documents. Now, the Treasurer Matt Kean, he wasn't mincing his words this morning when it came to Robert Borsak.
Robert Borsak has no credibility on this issue or anything else. I mean, Robert Borsak has had every single member of his parliamentary team resign from his party because of his leadership. I think that tells you everything you need to know about Robert Borsak's credibility on this issue or anything else for that matter.
Robert Borsak joins me now. Robert, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
What do you make of Matt Kean's comments?
Oh, look, that's the sort of stuff you'd expect from Matt Kean. Long way from the facts. The reality is it's the left supporting a Premier who sold out to the left. Mr Kean needs to step in and take over, I would think, but he doesn't want to. None of the things he's talking about has any bearing in relation to the matter that we're talking about today, and that is whether Dominic Perrottet signed false oaths on statutory declarations going back probably at least 10 or more years. That's the reality of it. It's got nothing to do with me, nothing to do with my party.
Labor and the Greens have said, look, we're not going to back what they call a hit job. You don't really need them, do you?
Absolutely, I don't need them. If the Labor Party has a different program, that's fine. I know the Greens have sold out to this Liberal government, this coalition government. I mean, they've been working in consort, I saw, before Parliament rose in November, supporting the Liberal government on a number of issues in the upper house. I know why they would prefer not to be involved. They're looking to see that their position will be in a situation where they might be able to support a coalition government if they were in a hung parliament. I mean, that's pretty obvious as the nose on your face.
You lead a party which paints itself as grassroots. Do you think the public have got a concern about what Dominic Perrottet did back when he was 21?
Look, I think on balance, based on what we've seen and heard since last Thursday when he made those confessions, I don't think the public really care too much about whether he wore a Nazi uniform or whether he didn't. I think they're prepared to look through that. There are more important issues to be addressed, and I think I agree with them on that, although my personal experience has been one of being brought up in a household where my father was a Polish Holocaust survivor. So my personal opinion would probably bear a long way away from what's going on. What I'm really talking about here is, having seen that, having read what's on the public record, having listened to what Mr Perrottet said in his apology process, I think he has a case to answer in relation to the law, and it's the Oaths Act. Did he or did he not sign false oaths? That's really what it gets down to as far as I'm concerned right now. Whether he's forgiven or not, whether he was stupid or not, I know people, even though at 21 you're an adult, do silly things. Put that aside. What's the story? It's not up to his party to say whether he did or he didn't, whether he gets a leave pass in relation to this. It's the law. What did he do, and did he breach the Oaths Act? That's really what I'd like to get the answer to.
But it goes to character, doesn't it? I mean, the thing that intrigues me about this story, watching it from a distance, is he would never have confessed that he did that unless someone had gone to him and said, we think there's a photo of you in a Nazi uniform at your 21st birthday party. So that's what intrigues me. It goes to character, does it not?
I think you're 100% right. It goes to character, and it also goes to integrity. If he had integrity and he had character, and we've heard him admit that this has weighed heavily on his mind in the last 20 years, why didn't he put it into the statutory declarations he signed every time he signed up to be a candidate? Why didn't he do it? Why? Well, because he basically has no integrity, because he hasn't disclosed it. Now that he has disclosed it, he's asking for a leave pass. He's asked to be forgiven. Well, maybe the electorate will forgive him. That's fine. But that doesn't remove the the obligation of the law to apply if he didn't do the right thing. And reading the media again this morning, it gets down to the Liberal Party trying to throw stones at me, talking about my party. My party's not relevant in this. We haven't signed statutory declarations. We've done other things that, on the face of it, may well be illegal.
We'd be a bit naive to think that every politician, though, who has signed up to be pre-selected reveals everything hidden in the closet, wouldn't we? I mean, there'd be plenty of other stories that if they came out about individual politicians would probably shock the voting public.
Look, that may well be the case. That may well be the case. But in this particular situation, I can only deal with what I'm seeing in front of me. And, we're asking Mr. Perrottet, we're asking him to be honest, deal with the public openly and properly. I'm asking him to own up, fess up, explain what actually he did at the time when he signed up to be a candidate on at least 3 separate occasions. And that's really all I'm on about at this stage. I'm sure you're right. I'm sure there are plenty of candidates, politicians who've done things that they would not be happy with in the past. That does happen, I'm sure. But it's one thing to say, yeah, I've done something I'm not proud of, and he's done that. But it's another thing to say, well, I signed off a legally binding statutory declaration, and oh, by the way, just leave it, forget it. I'm the Premier. I've got a leave pass from my own party. It's not up to them to grant a leave pass. It's really up to whether you breach the law or not. That's all we're talking about as far as I'm concerned.
Are you worried that because you've spoken out this way that someone might do a bit more digging into your background, or do you think that's already been done?
Oh, look, I think that's been done to death in years past. Happy for them to dig as much as they possibly can. Dig wherever you like. In the end of the day, I've had all sorts of accusations thrown at me. I've been through the courts. This government's gone out of its way in the last nearly 12 years to go after me and my party. This is nothing new. Mr. Perrottet, Mr. Kean, and all of those people, when we went after Baird and the Greyhound issue, when we went after them trying to set up 23 new marine parks, when we went after them on taxis and their disgusting program there, we're just a thought in the side. We may be a small one, but the reality is we're asking the hard questions and we're not getting the answers. And this government needs to answer to the public of New South Wales, does the Premier have any integrity when it comes to signing off statutory declarations? Does his own party have any integrity? Are they supporting him for the wrong reasons? Mr. Kean should be thinking about actually what he's going to be doing in relation to this government should they lose the election. Or maybe he should be thinking about replacing the Premier right now, because I think the Premier is a dead weight on their campaign.
Robert Borsak, thank you very much for your time today.
No, thank you indeed. All the best.